Trump. It's time to make a deal on Ukraine, otherwise I will impose new sanctions on all Russian exports against the crumbling economy. With the deal, I will be doing Putin a very big favor. I love the Russians, they helped us win World War II, losing 60 million lives. Let's make an agreement now and stop this ridiculous war. It will only get worse." End of quote. The Kremlin does not see anything new in Trump's threats, said Putin's press secretary Peskov. "We do not see any particularly new elements here. You know that Trump, in the first iteration of his presidency, was the American president who most often resorted to sanctions." End of quote. In Davos, Ruda supported Trump's ultimatum to Russia and called on Europe to strangle the Russian economy further. In an interview with Bloomberg, Zelensky admitted that his talks with Russian President Putin would take place if US President Trump guarantees Ukraine's security. The Kremlin did not confirm this information. Zelensky distinguished himself with absolutely drug-induced madness at the World Economic Forum in Davos, said Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova at a briefing on January 23.
I paid attention to this absolutely drug-induced madness that was happening in Davos. I mean Zelensky's speeches and his communication with the media, with delegates including his statements, reasoning that the negotiations between Russia and Ukraine in the spring of 2022 cannot be called a negotiation process, because allegedly they discussed something wrong. And what didn't Zelensky say before that? What prevented him from saying for 3 years that these were not negotiations? Why did they ask for them then? After all, he asked. He sent delegates there, who then, on their way back to Ukraine, received a bullet. His current statements were written under the dictation of these British fabulists, in order to once again throw more disinformation into the international information space and lead the world community down a false trail.
Trump should reconsider the idea of U.S. exceptionalism because of the destructiveness of the rivalry with Russia, said former Assistant Secretary of the Treasury in the Ronald Reagan administration Paul Craig Roberts in an interview with the YouTube channel Dialogue Works. "You don't need endless friction between the U.S. and Russia, because Russia's strategic capabilities are unmatched. And if you have another nuclear race with Russia, then sooner or later there will be an explosion." Let's hope that Trump understands the contradictory nature of the idea of American exceptionalism, the former official noted. Last Monday, at a meeting with permanent members of the Security Council, Putin threw an interesting idea to the European NATO countries rushing about in Davos and suggested how the Ukrainian issue could be resolved completely bloodlessly, in a European manner and 1,000,000% democratically. Vladimir Putin, in his academic manner, gave a brief historical excursion and explained that there are many questions about the statehood of Ukraine, because most of the territories still controlled by Kiev, where different peoples and nationalities live, have very different genesis. In particular, Russian, Polish, Hungarian and Romanian territories became part of the USSR, and then Ukraine as a result of World War II. So, if everyone in the West is such a big Democrat, and the first Democrat among them is Ukraine, then all this must be returned to its intended purpose. This would be extremely democratic, Putin said.